John Menard Jr. is worth approximately $20 billion. He is the 126th richest person in the world according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index as of November 2025. He is the wealthiest person in the state of Wisconsin by a significant margin. And he lives in an 11-room, one-story house in Eau Claire, Wisconsin with an assessed value of $425,000. Not a compound. Not an estate. Not a residence that reflects in any visible way what the man inside it is worth. The house is in the same city where he built his first hardware store. It is the kind of house a successful local businessman lives in. The company he built from that city is the third largest home improvement retailer in the United States, generates $13 billion in annual revenue, and has never been sold, never been taken public, and never had a chief executive other than John Menard Jr. himself. Every decision Menards has ever made flows directly from the man in that $425,000 house. Once you understand him, the store makes complete sense. That gap between what he is worth and how he lives is not an accident or an oversight. It is the operating philosophy made visible. John Menard Jr. was born January 22, 1940, in Eau Claire, the oldest of 8 children in a Catholic farm family where his father was a university math professor and his mother a grade school teacher. He attended the University of Wisconsin, Eau Claire, majored in business with a minor in psychology, graduated, and turned down a job offer from IBM. He built pole barns with friends from college to pay his tuition. When the pole barn business generated enough cash to fund a lumber store, he opened one. When the lumber store generated enough cash to fund a hardware store, he opened one. Every Menards store that has ever opened was funded by the cash the previous stores generated. No IPO, no debt offering, no outside capital. The company's entire growth history is a straight line from the principle that you do not spend money you have not yet made, and you do not give anyone else a claim on the money you have. To understand the decisions that built Menards into what it is today, you have to start with the union policy. It is the starkest and most documented expression of John Menard's management philosophy. He imposed an absolute ban on hiring anyone who had ever belonged to a union, not a preference. An absolute ban. If a prospective Menards manager had previously been a union member at any employer, at any point in their career, they could not be hired. Managers at Menards are subject to 60% pay cuts if their store becomes unionized. They agree, as a condition of employment, to pay fines of $100 per minute for infractions such as opening the store late. They agree to submit any disputes to arbitration rather than courts. Top executives at the Menards corporate headquarters are required to punch a time clock every morning. John Menard Jr. built the same accountability structure for the people who work for him that he applies to himself. The man who turns down IBM and lives in a $425,000 house while worth $20 billion is not going to run a management operation that does not punch a clock. String. Here is where the character portrait gets specific in ways that most coverage of Menards avoids. In 1997, John Menard was personally caught using his own pickup truck to haul plastic bags filled with chromium and arsenic-laden wood ash to his home for disposal with his household trash. This was not a corporate decision made by a subordinate. The founder and sole owner of a multi-billion-dollar home improvement chain was personally transporting industrial toxic waste in the bed of his pickup truck rather than paying for proper industrial disposal. He pleaded no contest to felony and misdemeanor charges involving record violations, unlawful transportation, and improper disposal of hazardous waste. He and his company were fined $1.7 million for 21 violations. This was not Menard's first environmental fine. The company had been fined in 1989 and 1994 for related violations. The man who requires his executives to punch a time clock and fines store managers $100 a minute for opening late was personally driving toxic waste home in his truck to avoid paying the cost of disposing of it correctly. 2013, the IRS ordered Menard to pay $6 million in back taxes after determining he had mischaracterized $20 million in compensation as salary rather than dividends, deducting it as a business expense in a way that reduced his personal tax liability. In a separate case, the Wisconsin Supreme Court forced Menard to pay $1.6 million to a former legal counsel to compensate for gender discrimination and gross underpayment. The legal record of the man who built the most efficient home improvement retail operation in America per store is a case study in institutional frugality applied without distinction to his company, his suppliers, his employees, the environmental regulatory system, and the IRS. He is not frugal about some things and generous about others. He is frugal about everything, including things that result in criminal no-contest pleas. The decision John Menard has never made is the one that would have changed everything about what Menards is. He has never sold the company. He has never taken it public. In 1997, when Lowe's expansion into the Midwest generated speculation about a buyout, a Star Tribune article documented his response in a single sentence of dismissal. There was no consideration. There was no banking process. The company that 3 separate private equity firms and 1 publicly traded competitor have been reported to have approached over the decades has never been sold because John Menard has never been willing to give anyone else a claim on what he built. As of 2025, he is 84 years old. He still serves as president. His son Paul sits on the board. Paul Menard is a semi-retired NASCAR driver who won the 2011 Brickyard 400. The succession plan for a $20 billion private company in a single family's hands has never been publicly disclosed. The man who lives in a $425,000 house and drove toxic waste home in his truck to avoid disposal costs has also donated $15 million to a local hospital, $10 million to a local YMCA, and $5 million to a law school research center. All of it in Eau Claire. All of it in the city where he built the first store. John Menard Jr. has never explained himself publicly in any meaningful way. He does not give interviews. He does not speak at conferences. The Forbes profile that called him a tough guy billionaire in 1997 got the description right and got nothing further. The company that bears his name is the operating expression of everything he believes about how a business should be run, who it should hire, what it should pay, which brands it will and will not carry, and who it will and will not answer to. It turns out the answer to that last question, over 60-plus years of building one of the most profitable retail operations in American history, has always been the same. Nobody. If this changed how you think about the store and the man who built it, subscribe. The decisions behind what you see on any Menards shelf trace back to a single person, and that person is more interesting than the advertising suggests.